Subject 95 was probably one of Task Force 27's more ambitious undertakings. The Horizon Corporation's activities at the Pandora Institute were exponentially increasing their understanding of anomalous materials, and they even managed to secure a biological anomaly of very high importance to the Syndicate. It was clear that action needed to be taken against them, but unfortunately for Task Force 27, a simple bombing operation would not be ideal due to information that would soon be disclosed by their forward observation teams. Basic intel gathering uncovered that the Institute was no ordinary black site. It was operating both as an underground laboratory complex and a medical facility specializing in end-of-life care. Numerous world-renowned celebrities had made the location their home upon hearing the news that they had been diagnosed with terminal illnesses. Because a large civilian population was to be present in the area at all times and the airspace was guarded by an advanced anti-aircraft gun, a more covert method of disruption would have to be devised. These exigent circumstances demanded a new specialized cycle variant that could function both as a civilian in everyday social settings and professional work environments, as well as a proficient infiltrator and combat model. The Pandora Institute asked the Syndicate a difficult question: how do you mix a hungry wolf into a pack of restless sheep? Their answer was Subject 95. Dr. Emerson appears in-game as a lean man of average height and build in a stark white Level C Horizon hazmat suit. The suit itself is made from a composite of plastic fabric and rubber, with a hood making room for a standard-issue air-purifying respirator with a cerulean glass face mask. He also wears distinctive sky blue gloves, and a pistol holster can be found on his right leg. While we have seen that the Syndicate is capable of creating subjects with extreme augmentations and even ones that aren't entirely human, this likely isn't the case with Subject 95. Even though there's no way of actually seeing what he looks like under his mask, due to the nature of his work at the Pandora Institute, in all likelihood Dr. Emerson simply looks like an ordinary person. Despite the fact that the Syndicate can indeed get very creative when engineering cycles, and even the theory that Subject 106 himself looks like this thing, Task Force 27 probably didn't go too crazy when they were making a clone whose primary goal was to blend in. Essentially nothing is known of Subject 95's origin. It can't even be said for certain where he got his name from. Whether he's only posing as another actual Horizon scientist named Dr. Emerson whose identity he stole, or if Task Force 27 simply made a cover story for him from the ground up and just decided to use the name Dr. Emerson, there is no real intel that can be found in the game discussing his inception, his age, his abilities, or his favorite ice cream flavor. We can only speculate if Emerson has any of the special abilities that combat-oriented subjects like 105, 106, or 107 have, such as enhanced strength or the ability to cloak, but we do know that he does appear to have some degree of weapons training. In intel logs and in the retirement cutscene at the end of the game, Dr. Emerson is seen wielding a handgun surrounded by the bodies of Horizon scientists. Other than that, the only real background info about Subject 95 is in his assignment: to infiltrate, exploit, and destroy the Pandora Institute. Beneath the scenic and inviting exterior of the Pandora Institute lies a top-secret facility dedicated to the study of an esoteric organism known as Subject 97, the Mothman. For the purpose of this video, I won't be going into great detail about the Mothman or really the Pandora Institute in general, since the Mothman alone warrants its own video entirely, and that goes double for the Pandora Institute itself. Instead, I'll use this section to focus on what Dr. Emerson probably got up to before we finally meet him and how his actions played out in the game. For starters, Emerson had likely been at the Institute for quite some time before he effectively initiated Task Force 27's full-scale assault. Searching through the game files reveals a briefing showing what I think may be the Institute under construction, possibly being done in secrecy so as not to reveal the complex underneath it. Catching wind of Horizon's true goals with Pandora early on, it's my belief that the Syndicate began working on Subject 95 immediately and embedded him into the Institute as soon as possible sometime in 2034, a full year before the events of the game. During his stay, Dr. Emerson would have assisted Horizon with their study of Subject 97, relaying any information he could back to his leaders.
Okay, everybody, we will now be performing a basic test to determine the specific physical characteristics of Subject 97. Attention D Unit 534, please proceed as you were instructed.
It's a female.
Anyway, eventually Emerson and the other scientists made several advancements in anomalous research and engineering thanks to a breakthrough discovery with biomatter harvested from Subject 97. It was probably only a short time later, when the efficient but highly volatile bioreactors were invented, that the Syndicate would become satisfied with Emerson's work and tell him to destroy the Institute. But before the final breach that opened the door for Task Force 27 and Subject 106, Emerson had actually tried to initiate two other containment breaches. In the drone found within the Pandora Institute level were shown that Anton Lazar himself was onto Emerson and knew that he was a double agent. Not only does this suggest that the Horizon CEO was heavily invested into the activities at the Pandora Institute, it also means that Emerson may have known he was on borrowed time, which could be the reason why he finally decided to release the Mothman in a not so covert or cautious manner. The other personnel definitely knew of his betrayal and were ready to kill him on sight as well, at least after they saw him turn the Mothman loose. Fully aware that he was hopelessly outnumbered and nobody was coming to save him, the final cutscene shows Emerson kneeling before Subject 97, preparing for his inevitable end. However, if you've played the game, you'd know that Emerson isn't actually found like this. Instead, he's located on the upper floors in the medical areas with a laptop next to him. At first I thought this was a plot hole, but if you actually look at his body, there's clear indication that he did indeed have contact with Subject 97. Emerson is lying dead in a pool of his own liquefied remains, apparently succumbing to the Mothman's bile after stumbling back up from wherever its containment cell is located in the facility. I guess his hazmat suit prevented him from transforming like the other victims, and a bottle of alcohol next to him indicates he at least had a bit of a buzz going while he slowly melted away. When 106 finds him, he takes his Syndicate coin and uploads the mission data on his USB before leaving him to be recovered by the other Task Force 27 operators. After that, Emerson is never spoken of again, except in the final intel document stating he had been incinerated after his body was removed from the Pandora Institute, officially ending the 95th cycle. Like most subjects, Dr. Emerson appears to display a degree of cognitive dissonance toward his actions, as evidenced in the note left behind in the bar where he got his nightcap. The possibly sarcastic note suggests he wasn't happy with what he had to do, but simply couldn't break free of his conditioning and destroyed the Pandora Institute as he was always made to. The enigmatic letter could be addressed to 106 himself, or it could just be a final lamentation for anyone to find, since Emerson seemed well aware someone from the Syndicate would come for him and not for any kind of rescue operation. Now, there is some dispute surrounding why he slams his fist in the retirement cutscene at the end of the game, particularly whether or not he's mad at what the Syndicate is making him do, or if he's just so frustrated with his two previous failures he's decided he's just gonna go for broke even if he doesn't make it out alive. Needless to say, there's plenty of speculation surrounding Dr. Emerson, and I think it speaks to the very underrated writing skills of the TREPANG development team that I was able to make a 10-minute long video about a dead body. From what little we do know, Emerson's story clearly demonstrates the brutal efficiency of the Syndicate Cycle program, showing that it only takes one subject to bring a heavily guarded top-secret scientific facility to its knees. But unfortunately for Subject 95, his life would end the exact same way.